welcome to our next video for Backpacking Basics.
Backpacking Basics.
Backpacking Basics. So this video is all about stoves.
Something we're very passionate about, cooking and eating.
Cooking and eating. I'm very good at eating. So you're just getting into backpacking. You need a stove system, and it can be a little overwhelming, especially when you walk into a big box outdoor retailer. There's tons of different options for stove systems. So we're gonna talk about the different options that we've used and what we feel are, you know, a little bit easier to start off with and what's a little bit more challenging. One thing to note too is that most people, when they're on the trail, when it comes to cooking, the goal is to heat up water.
Yeah.
So most people are eating like a dehydrated food or freeze-dried meals or making coffee. So the goal mainly is to boil water. So of course there's all sorts of cool different things you can do when it comes to eating, and we've done some of that as well.
Yeah, check out some of our Isle Royal video. We've cooked fish, we've cooked all sorts of stuff.
Yeah, but I think
you get sick of dehydrated meals.
Yeah. But I think from the backpacking basics perspective,
yeah, it's about boiling water.
We're taking the perspective of boiling water. All right, so let's kick it off.
So the first type of stove system, and it's not even pictured here, it was the very first kind I used, is what we'll call a liquid fuel system. So I don't even have it anymore. It was an MSR Whisper Light, and it's just a liquid fuel bottle that plugs into a stove, and then you pump liquid fuel into a burner. And I don't have it anymore because they're super heavy, they're fairly expensive, and they don't make sense from a weight perspective, but they are very reliable. So we'll get that out of the way. There are liquid fuel stoves, but for someone starting, we're gonna recommend the first kind of stove system here, and this is your classic canister stove. This is a MSR Pocket Rocket. There are tons of these different kinds of stoves. We're not going to recommend a specific one.
I've got a Snow Peak one, works fine.
The really popular ultralight one is a BRS titanium one you can get on Amazon, I think for like 20 bucks, and it's much lighter than this one.
Yeah.
These have a lot of advantages in that they're very easy to use. You will literally just screw one of these canisters on, and you'll open the valve and then just light it with a lighter. And the other huge advantage to these is they're really fast. I mean, you can boil a couple cups of water in like 2 minutes with one of these canister stoves. They're really, really fast, and they're really easy to use. And they're fairly light, to be honest. I mean, this little piece is pretty light. The only negative downside is the canister itself is a little bit heavy, and when you're out of fuel, you gotta lug this canister around. And then the other like negative maybe compared to an alcohol stove is you have to buy these at outdoor retailers, whereas like alcohol you can buy at a gas station. But for people getting into backpacking, we're probably going to recommend you just stick with a canister stove. These are also great for car camping as well.
Yeah, some great different types of canister stoves. MSR, like Snow Peak. Jet Boil, we've seen.
Jet Boil is popular, and that is a canister stove, but it's an all-in-one system. It's just pretty heavy, but people love those.
Yeah. So ease of use, getting into backpacking, canister stove, I think wins.
And they're pretty cheap too. So that's what we can recommend if you're just starting out. Now, Andy will get into the next type of stove. If you're looking to go the more advanced route, he'll tell you about stove system number 3.
Number 3?
Well, 1 was the liquid fuel.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which we don't even consider anymore.
Yeah. So the next stove system we want to talk about is alcohol stoves. So
these are very popular in the ultralight community now.
So alcohol stoves, I think the main advantage to an alcohol stove is weight. They're a lot lighter. And there's so many different types of alcohol stoves.
So it's literally a can of cat food.
Yeah, and you can make your own alcohol stove. So they're super lightweight and they're super like low tech. So meaning they're reliable.
It's a can of cat food.
Yeah. So alcohol stoves, just like Kevin was mentioned too a little bit ago, they use a type of denatured alcohol. Why don't you talk about that?
Yeah, so the most common fuel you'll see is called yellow bottle heat, and that is denatured methanol. But you can also use, you could use isopropyl. You'd probably get a little soot. And you could use just denatured alcohol that you get from a hardware store. But by far the cheapest is Heat, H-E-E-T, and you can usually get it at Walmart for like $1.50 for 12 ounces. And generally with an alcohol stove, you get about a ½ ounce per boil of alcohol. So one bottle of heat is easily enough for like 15 or 20 boils for $1.50. So you can't beat that.
No, it's super cheap. It's super cheap, super lightweight, minimum tech, meaning it's super simple. And it works. Another advantage is it's quiet. Like,
yeah, they're not loud.
Yeah, the canister stove is a little bit louder. Alcohol is a little bit quieter. We prefer the alcohol stoves because of the weight savings. So there's, you're not carrying around the big canister of fuel. You're just carrying a bottle of alcohol.
You could also, the best fuel for alcohol stoves on a kilojoule or calorie basis of heat per unit volume is actually 100% ethanol. So you could actually burn Everclear or something in them. Heat is what you want to use most of the time, or if you go to the hardware store and get a huge like 5-liter thing of denatured alcohol.
Yeah, another disadvantage of alcohol stoves, if you're really set on cooking a lot of crazy stuff on the trail, like you're using a frying pan, alcohol stove, it can be done.
It can be done.
It can be done, but generally like a canister stove is going to be better for like making pancakes, making eggs, that type of thing. Yeah,
like a canister stove, you can modulate the flame. So if you want to simmer something like pancakes, or if you want to full burn something, you have that option. Another difference is if you're winter backpacking, the canisters, because they run on a gaseous state, can be a little bit trickier. Now, some people will tell you can't use canisters in the winter, which isn't entirely true, but you are going to want to have this canister like in your jacket pocket or something like that if you're using it in the winter. Versus in the winter, this is still good. It's not going to freeze. So the alcohol stove might be a little bit easier to use in the winter.
Yeah, and then something we haven't mentioned yet too is you need to get a windscreen as well. You're really gonna the fuel's gonna work a lot more efficient for you with a windscreen. So always get yourself a windscreen. We can use a windscreen on this as well.
Yeah, definitely the windscreens are way more important for an alcohol stove though, for sure.
Yeah.
So those are the most common ones. Stove type number 4 is the one we most recently got, and those are wood burning stoves. Obviously, the #1 advantage to a wood burning stove is weight, because you don't have to carry fuel. You're just using fuel, you're using pine cones, sticks, I don't know, shavings, whatever you find. But that's also the huge disadvantage to a wood burning stove, is they're kind of a pain. This is a Vargo firebox grill. Most wood burning stoves don't look like this. If you watch our Isle Royal video series, you'll see exactly why we got this stove and exactly how we used it. We used it a lot in that video series, so check it out if you want to see this in action. Most wood burning stoves are basically like a cylindrical cone that you just stick stuff in and light.
Yeah, if you want to see some other ones, Google Bush Buddy or go on YouTube.
Bush Buddy or the Solo Stove, which is like the Bush Buddy knockoff, are the most popular titanium, at least, backpacking wood burning stoves.
Yeah, and some other disadvantages to the wood burning is you get soot everywhere.
Yeah, so this is the frying pan we used, and this is like after scrubbing and dishwashing, you just get this like layery soot layer that sticks on there, and it's not a huge deal. I mean, you're in the woods, whatever, you're gonna be dirty, but it is kind of annoying.
Yeah, you get soot everywhere, and then obviously the fuel can be an issue, especially if it's really wet out.
Yeah.
Or but wood burning is a lot of fun, especially if you're making like larger items. It works well with the frying pans. Yeah. You don't have the, like Kevin said, you don't have the extra weight of carrying like a fuel canister or a bottle of alcohol.
It's kind of cool. I mean, it's cool to like, I don't know, it's more like rustic.
I know, everybody loves like camping and having some type of fire. That's just, your traditional camping experience.
And you got to keep continually refeeding these as well.
Yeah.
Versus the other stoves, you kind of light them and forget about them.
There's also like a longer cool down period on this. So, if you were in a hurry, you're making breakfast in the morning,
you're not gonna want to start a fire.
Yeah, you're gonna have to start a fire, and you have to wait for it to cool down. You have to dispose of the ashes
because you
properly.
have to burn down to coals for this particular one. So that's it. That's the tour of camping stoves, and like Andy talked about, we definitely recommend if you're just getting into backpacking, try a canister stove. They're the easiest, and you won't have to worry about it, and they're super reliable.
Yeah, and there's some on Amazon for like $5 shipped. You can go to all the big box retailers and see all the different wide variety of them. They work great. They're so easy and simple to use. If you want to do a little bit more, want to save a little bit more weight, then you can move into alcohol, and then
when you want to really test yourself, or if you're going somewhere for like 2 weeks and you don't have access to a resupply, wood burning might be a way to go, or at least like this thing weighs 5 ounces, just throw it in your pack, and then bringing this and an alcohol setup might not weigh that much, but this is more of the advanced thing.
Yeah. And then we use titanium for all of our cookware. Yeah. So for our pots and our mugs. Actually, I have an aluminum pot too. But so many different pots and mugs out there. Yeah. Just go grab one. Anything really works. It just depends on how much weight you want to carry. So titanium is usually the most popular.
Yeah, you don't have to start with titanium though. You can start with stainless or aluminum or whatever.
Yeah, you can go. They're super cheap for a stainless steel pot.
So that is our little backpacking basics video on stove systems, short and sweet. We both use alcohol systems. If I'm car camping, I will bring the canister, and then like for longer trips or trips where we want to grill stuff, we'll bring this wood burning stove. So we do use all of them kind of, but the alcohol is our go-to. So yeah, thank you guys for tuning in. Let us know what kind of stoves you use, or if there's another stove we don't know about that could be brought into this list.
Yeah, and like the video if you want to.
Dislike it if you hated it.
Dislike it if you hated it.
Mash that thumbs down button if you hated it. And subscribe if you want, and then like always, if you want to see more of us goofing around, check us out on Instagram.
Yeah. All right.
Thanks.